What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode. In today's video, I'm going to be addressing headlights and how to properly seal them up should you ever have any problems. So if you take your headlight lens off of your headlight assembly, or if you just have condensation or moisture inside the headlight, you're going to have some sort of leak somewhere. Now, I am basing this off of the fact that you guys have already checked the back side of the housing to make sure that the seal for each one of the actual bulbs is properly pushed onto the headlight housing. If your car doesn't have that problem, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take the headlight lens off of the headlight assembly, and you're going to have to do what I'm about to show you today. So I have two things that are going to get me able to do this. I have this product here. This is a rubber butyl and a heat gun. That's all you're going to need, and you're going to be able to get these so that they're not going to leak again. Super easy, super cheap. Let me show you what I'm working with. So what you guys see here are the headlights for my Mini Cooper. So as you can tell, I disassembled it and I removed everything from the headlight housing because I wanted to not only paint the projector shroud, but I also wanted to paint the inner part. So this here used to be all chrome. So with this completely assembled, I went ahead and I painted everything up. I have an LED inside the turn signal right here, and I have the standard factory projector with an upgraded bulb inside there. So that is a bi-xenon, which means it's a low beam and high beam. So because I took the lens off of the headlight, I'm gonna have to seal it up. So when you take this apart, if you guys have ever taken apart any kind of headlight, you'll notice that there's a factory sealant that's around the perimeter of the headlight assembly. So if you follow it, you'll be able to see that it literally goes around the entire thing. Now, once you take it out, you're gonna have a leak somewhere. If you were to just put this over top of it and put it back inside a box with a heat gun, you're gonna have some sort of leak. Now that's where we're gonna be introducing this product here. So this is the butyl that I'm talking about. So it's a very malleable, soft, rubber kind of piece. And this here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get this and you're gonna outline the entire perimeter of the headlight housing. Now, when you do that, you're gonna basically be adding more material inside of here, and you're gonna be able to make that seal proper. Now, you are gonna have a little bit of material, so a little bit of the butyl come out of the sides. Now, that's no big deal. If you do see that, that means that you made a proper seal. So because this is not a new piece where we have no rubber here and no rubber here, well, we're gonna be working with what we have. So that is how we're gonna get this done. So I took the shroud out, I painted it the same color as my Mini. I painted these parts here red, which comes out from this little inner trim piece, just so that it all matches up nicely. Now, to put this all back together, I'm gonna have to put the reflector back onto the back side of the housing. I'm gonna be using the 4 bolts there to do that. Then this projector shroud just clips over top of the projector lens. Then these 4 screws here are going to be used to put this inside of here. There's gonna be 4 screw holes, and then this goes over top of the headlight assembly. So I'm gonna get all that done, and then I'm gonna show you how to mate that up. With both the headlight assembly and the lens now ready to be mated together, we first need to put the butyl around the outside perimeter of the housing. So with it like this, open up one of these packagings. This is gonna have enough to do your headlights. Now, one of these rolls should be enough for 2 headlights, but it depends on the kind of car you have. If you have a really large perimeter, you might need to get 2 of these things to get this done. So I'm just gonna grab a decent amount, using some scissors, just give it a cut, and then separate the butyl from the backing. Okay, so it's sticky on both sides. It's not like tape where one side is sticky and the other isn't. Now what you're gonna do is just start wherever you'd like and start pressing the butyl down into the crack of the headlight assembly. Now if there's any areas that have very little adhesive left, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna make sure that that area has extra. So once you go around once, if you'd like, you can go around once more. But from the looks of it, it actually seems to be pretty good. If there's any areas that have no sealant, you want to definitely put extra in there. Now keep in mind, the more you stretch it, the thinner it gets. So just keep going around the entire perimeter until you're done. So I almost have enough to go all the way around. You can see I got a little bit short, so that's all I need. Just push that in there. Now what you're going to do next is get this so that you can position the headlight in an area that you can actually push down on it. Grab the headlight lens, put it in the correct orientation, like this. You can see that it lines up. Now, typically there are guide tabs that are found on these headlights. So take a look at down here. Do you see this little plastic piece? So that goes down there in the corner. So when you're putting this in, try to put it in the guide tabs. So see this little plastic piece on the lens? That goes in between these two parts here. So just try and align that as best as you can around the entire headlight. We're gonna see if we can put some pressure down once we have it all aligned. So don't put any pressure on it yet. Make sure that it's all in those little tabs. So there's one here. There's another one found up top. And there's gonna be another one on the side right over here. Once you have all of those aligned into place, you can then push the lens and the housing together. You wanna sandwich them. Don't reef on it, just push on it a little bit, because right now the butyl and the OEM sealant is cold, which means it's hard. So once it's in there like that, or it's just kind of snug, you're gonna then bring this entire thing and you're gonna get a heat gun and a large box that's large enough to put the entire headlight assembly inside. So grab your headlight and you're gonna put this inside an enclosed box. So in this box here, I have a piece of wood just to hold the tops of the cardboard box up. I have a heat gun facing, well, anywhere but at the headlight. So you wanna have indirect heat going inside this box at this light, so that what you're basically gonna try and do is heat up all the residue, so any of the OEM sealant that's inside this little gap, along with the new butyl that we have inside of there. You wanna heat all of that up so it all gets nice and soft. Then we're gonna take this out of the box and squeeze it together, and we're gonna basically make this gap tiny. Make sure the headlight is not touching the heat gun, and make sure the heat is not pointing towards the headlight. Close this up, and then we're gonna turn our heat gun on high, and we're gonna leave it here for 8 minutes. It doesn't matter if you're opening up your headlights or you're sealing them, you wanna get those nice and warm. I find that using the heat gun on high for 8 minutes does a really good job at softening up all that rubber. Now, if your box has an opening, you're gonna wanna close it up. So something like this, there you go. We're gonna leave it like that, and we're gonna come back in 8 minutes. Now, these gloves that I have on right here are specifically made for vinyl wrapping. However, they do a really good job under heat. So you can use these, grab your headlights, and you won't be burning yourself. Now, what you're trying to do is you just wanna squeeze the headlight and the lens together. Now, I'm gonna bring this over there just so that I have an easier area to work with. Now, when you're doing this process, you don't wanna use any kind of tool. So nothing made out of metal to basically clamp these together. Because if you do, because this is plastic and this is plastic, these are both now soft. So just with your hands, try and compress them together, and you're essentially trying to squeeze and ooze out any air that's in between this gap. Now you may need to do this process a couple times, but this is essentially all that you're doing to get it so that the little clips that are found on the outside perimeter of the headlight go inside the tabs. So take a look at this one right here. So that's not over yet, so I need to squeeze this a little more and then put this little clamp over top of the little nub on the lens. Almost there. And then when it folds over like that, you're pretty much good. So you're just gonna do that for the entire perimeter of the headlight housing. Now let's say hypothetically that you can't get the lens to clamp up to the backside of the headlight assembly. There's no trick to it, you just need more heat. Now I would stay away from using a heat gun directly at the outside perimeter of the headlight. You can use it, but you also have the potential of damaging the plastic lens. Now, if you do that, you'll burn it and then you're screwed. So after doing this once, I'm gonna actually put this back inside the box, heat it up a little bit more, and then do the exact same thing. Now, one extra thing to note is that if your headlights come with these little clips, you wanna put these back on. So these ensure that the lens itself stays in place with the backside of the headlight. So once it makes that clamp, you now have a physical connection between the lens and the backside holding it together. So there's gonna be one there, and there's another one down here in the center. Now, we're not done yet. We still need to put this back inside of the little box that we have, heat everything up once more, and then you're gonna let it cool down without touching the light. Now, if you guys can, once you take it out of the box that's producing the heat, for the third time, what you're gonna wanna do is take off any caps that are on the back. So if you've done any kind of painting, that all can gas out. Now, not only that, it also allows any of the warm air that's inside the headlight housing to escape, which means that everything is going to cool down, and then you're gonna make that proper seal. So just double check before you let it sit that all the tabs are on there, all the clips are over top, and everything looks good. So I'm gonna let this headlight cool down until it reaches room temperature. Once it's done, I can install it on the car and everything should be good to go. Be sure to test everything, make sure that everything works as it should be. You shouldn't get any condensation coming back inside your headlights. Now, if you're really worried, you can double up with the rubber butyl twice around the headlight perimeter. Any excess you will be able to remove afterwards, so it's not gonna be an issue, but just keep in mind you might be going through extra, but just use whatever you think you'll need. If you wanna be super safe, use a little bit more. If you guys wanna find any of this stuff, the heat gun or even these gloves, you guys can find links in the description box. Anything that you guys buy from those links helps me out because they're sponsored links. It helps me make videos for you guys. Thank you guys for this video. If you guys found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.